I returned from deployment ready to rebuild my marriage, only to learn my wife had spent 5 months confiding, flirting, calling, and emotionally attaching herself to another man, deleting messages, lying straight to my face, taking off her wedding rings, gaslighting me. I'm posting this mostly to vent because my head is spinning, but I'll take whatever advice people have because life honestly sucks right now. I just found out tonight that my wife of 5 years has been having, at minimum, an emotional affair for the last 5 months behind my back. I'm active duty military and just got back from a long underway period where I basically had zero contact with anyone back home. When I left earlier this year, I genuinely felt like my marriage was in a good place. Not perfect, but good. In 2023, we bought what we both called our dream home, something that felt perfect for my 2 stepkids, something we were proud of and excited about. We were busy, stressed, constantly pulled in different directions by work and parenting, but I never thought we had issues we couldn't work through. I believed we were happy. But the moment I got home, something felt off. The woman I thought I knew, the one who was loving, affectionate, and actually wanted to spend time with me, just wasn't there anymore. She was distant, closed off, detached. And yeah, I know this kind of thing is extremely common in military marriages. Reintegration after a deployment is awkward. Sometimes it takes weeks for things to settle into a rhythm again. I told myself that's all it was. But over the next couple of weeks, it just got worse. She started sleeping on the couch more and more. She was constantly on her phone in ways she never used to be, turning the screen away every time I walked near her. It wasn't subtle. It wasn't normal. After about a month, I couldn't pretend anymore that nothing was wrong. One night we were sitting outside by the fire, just the two of us, a rare moment of quiet, and I finally said something. I told her something felt wrong, that she felt emotionally gone. She didn't fight me on it. She agreed. She said she felt disconnected too. We had a long talk over some drinks, and we ended up agreeing that we needed to work on each other, and on us. At the time, I actually felt relieved. I thought we were on the same page. But tonight, I found out what was really going on during those months I was away, and during the weeks I'd been home trying to reconnect with her. She was having an emotional affair the entire time. 5 months of messages. 5 months of sharing her thoughts, her time, her energy, her emotional availability with someone else behind my back. 5 months of turning to another person instead of me. 5 months of building something with someone else while I was gone, thinking about how much I missed my wife and kids, how excited I was to get home, how much I wanted to make our life better. I don't even know what to feel right now. I feel sick. I feel stupid. I feel betrayed. All those nights she slept on the couch, all those hours glued to her phone, all the walls she put up between us, now it all makes sense in the worst way possible. At that point, I honestly thought we were going to be okay. I thought we had hit some sort of emotional reset button and that together, slowly, we would work our way back to the marriage I believed we still had a chance at saving. I started putting in every ounce of effort I had. I tried to be more attentive, more present, more helpful. I took things off her plate. I cooked, I cleaned, I handled errands. I encouraged her to go do her hobbies, to get out of the house and do things that made her happy. She had recently taken up golf, and she really seemed to love it. I was genuinely happy she found something that gave her joy, even if it wasn't something we did together. We still played softball on a local team with friends whenever we could. I was slammed with work and missed more games than I'd have liked, but I still showed up late just to support her, bring the kids, cheer her on. Fast forward to last week. We're outside again, sitting around another backyard fire. It should have been a peaceful moment, but instead she blindsides me. She says she just doesn't see us working out anymore. Those same cliché breakup lines. It's not you, it's me. I've tried to get back to where we were. I don't want you to hate me. Start spilling out of her like she rehearsed them in the mirror. And in that moment, I swear it felt like my stomach dropped straight through the floor. Panic hit me so hard I could barely breathe. I scrambled. I suggested marriage counseling, changing routines, working on intimacy, doing whatever it took to save what we built together. I told her I would put in the work, all the work, because our life together mattered. But there was this nagging ache in my gut I couldn't ignore anymore, and before I even realized the words were out of my mouth, I asked her, "Is there someone else?" She shot back with the fastest, most defensive, "Of course not," I've ever heard. Followed immediately with, "I'd never do that to you." It was so quick it almost stunned me. And because she had never given me a reason not to trust her before all this started, I forced myself to believe her. I climbed into bed that night beside her, wrapped my arms around her in what I guess was an attempt to hold onto something that was already slipping through my fingers. But the embrace felt wrong, forced, uncomfortable, like hugging someone who wasn't really there. Days went by. I scheduled marriage counseling. I surprised her with flowers at work. I took her out to lunch. I tried to show her love in every way I could think of. And yeah, I'm sure I came across as needy at times, but my marriage was collapsing in front of my eyes. My heart was shattering and she kept shutting me out. She barely talked to me. She barely looked at me. All I got was distance and vague lines about trying and not knowing what she wanted. Then Sunday rolls around. She goes golfing with some friends. When she comes home, the first thing I notice is that she's not wearing her rings. My stomach dropped immediately. I confronted her, and she brushed it off, said she takes them off for golf and just forgot to put them back on. I know nothing about golf. I've never played a day in my life. So against every screaming instinct in my body, I nodded and told myself maybe that was normal. But that night I couldn't do it. I couldn't lie next to her pretending everything was fine, or even salvageable. My stomach was twisted in knots. My mind wouldn't stop racing. I felt like I was losing my grip on my own reality, like I was watching my marriage drown and being told the water wasn't real. I slept on the couch because it was the only place where I could breathe. Because deep down, my gut was telling me exactly what my heart wasn't ready to hear. Fast forward to tonight. She gets home, and I'm in the kitchen making dinner for my stepdaughter, still sweaty from a workout, trying to keep myself grounded in routine because everything else in my life feels like it's slowly disintegrating. She walks in, sets her stuff down, and the first thing I notice, again, is that her ring is still off. No explanation, no attempt to pretend she forgot, no quick apology. Just bare finger, plain as day. My therapist recently suggested trying different forms of communication since talking face-to-face with her has turned into a brick wall. So, I decide to try texting her while we're both in the house. I feel ridiculous at first, texting my own wife who's sitting across the room, but I'm desperate. Shockingly, it actually works. I got more out of her in those texts than I have in 2 months. 2 months of cold shoulders, short answers, empty looks, and emotional distance, and suddenly, she's willing to type out thoughts she won't speak aloud. Meanwhile, I'm trying to hold it together because my stepdaughter is right there in the room. I don't want to break down in front of her. So I'm there, sitting a few feet from my wife, pouring my heart out over a screen, telling her how scared I am, how confused, how much I love her, how much I want to fix things. And she texts back, calm, detached, saying she's uncomfortable in our marriage and can't see us ever getting back to good. The worst part wasn't even the words. The worst part was looking up while she typed them. Her face showed nothing. No sadness. No conflict. No grief. It was like she was texting a coworker about rescheduling a meeting instead of telling her husband she saw no future with him. Something inside me cracked right then. Not shattered, cracked. The kind of break where you know the real collapse is still coming but you can already feel the pressure building. I excused myself and went into the shower. I didn't even bother turning on music or anything to drown out my thoughts. I just stood there letting the water hit me while I tried not to fall apart completely. I could hear her doing stuff with my stepdaughter in the other room, laughing, talking, doing normal nightly routines like nothing monumental was happening between us. It made me feel like I was losing my mind. When I came out, something clicked. Or maybe snapped. I don't know. But suddenly what had felt like this giant emotional fog cleared enough for me to see the shape of something I had refused to acknowledge. It was like staring at a puzzle where you know exactly what the missing piece should be even before you find it. My gut had been screaming at me for weeks, probably longer, but my heart just didn't want to let it in. I've never snooped through her phone. Not once in all our years together. I always believed that trust meant something. But tonight, after everything, I cracked. I didn't go through her phone directly. I couldn't do that with my stepdaughter around and my wife in the next room, but I checked what I could check. The phone records. The call logs. The text logs. Our carrier account shows all of that and I had access. I didn't even know what I expected to find. At first it looked normal. A few calls. A few texts. Then I saw it. A number that immediately stood out. Not because it was unfamiliar, but because it was too familiar. The timestamps were insane: 3 a.m. texts, constant messaging, picture messages, and 40 to 60-minute phone calls every single day. Not just a phase, not a short-term thing, not a moment of weakness. This had been going on for months. I scrolled back through September. Same number. Same pattern. Thousands of messages. Literally over 12,000 combined messages and calls. While I was gone. While I was home. While I was asleep next to her. including a set of 3 a.m. messages the very night I came home, when she was supposedly so overwhelmed and tired that she couldn't even open up to me. But the worst part? The part that made my stomach twist into something almost unrecognizable? I knew the number. It wasn't a stranger. It wasn't someone random. It was one of our friends from the softball team. A guy I had literally gone out for drinks with a couple weeks ago. A guy I talked to, joked with, trusted. When I saw the 40-minute phone call from right after I took her to lunch the other day, something inside me just hollowed out. I saved the logs. Every timestamp. Every call. Every message count. I don't even know what I'm going to do with them yet, but I couldn't close the screen without saving proof of what I already knew deep in my gut. At this point, I was furious, shaking actually, and I let the anger take the wheel even though I knew I needed to stay calm. But when your world collapses in slow motion, calm stops being an option. I told her to come to the bedroom and asked her to tell the kids to get ready for bed. She followed without arguing, but the second she sat on the edge of the mattress, something in me snapped. I demanded her phone. No soft voice. No careful phrasing. Just raw, shaking fury. The look on her face made my stomach drop. Pure panic. She didn't even try to deny anything. She just shot up and ran to the bathroom, slamming the door as if she could lock the truth away. I stood there listening to the frantic tapping on her screen, the unmistakable sound of someone deleting an entire chapter of a life they shouldn't have written. When she finally walked out, she handed the phone to me like it was a dead animal. I opened the messages, nothing. No thread with him. No texts. No screenshots. Just empty space, where months of conversations should have been. My chest tightened. I checked Facebook Messenger and found a few flirty exchanges from early November, but everything before that? Gone. I asked her directly if she deleted the messages. She said yes, with no emotion at all. No shame. No panic. Just yes. That was the moment something in me shut down. I told her I could still check deleted message logs, and she practically glued the phone to her chest and refused to hand it over. When I asked why, she said, "It's too personal. Too personal for your husband, but not too personal for the guy you're talking to at 3 a.m.? Everything inside me twisted. She insisted nothing physical happened and nothing sexual happened. She said they were just talking, and then acted like she'd never even heard the phrase emotional affair before. When I explained it, she made this fake light bulb face, this ridiculous, insulting attempt to act surprised. We argued. Not screaming, just this horrible, tense back and forth where she kept doing this weird, emotionless laugh she's been doing for weeks. Like none of this touched her. Like she wasn't watching the man who raised her kids fall apart in front of her. I finally told her I wanted a divorce and that we needed to start preparing to sell the house. She didn't fight. She didn't even cry. Whether it was emotional or physical didn't even matter anymore. I spent months thinking I was the problem, thinking I was losing my mind, while she invested her time, her attention, her affection, her heart into another man. I poured everything into trying to save us, while she was deleting messages and calling him for an hour after lunch with me. And then she hit me with a final blow. You never text me. He's basically my best friend. I don't think I've ever felt something slice through my chest like that. Now I'm left wishing I'd trusted my gut when the distance started, when the rings stopped being worn, when the late nights on the couch added up. But what breaks me the most isn't her, it's the kids. They're the ones who will lose the home we built, the stability, the pets they adore, their sense of normal. All because she decided she wasn't happy and went looking for someone who made her feel special. She even tried to guilt-trip me about them having to move if we sell the house, as if this wasn't the result of her choices. As if I somehow caused the fallout of her betrayal. I know the next steps: lawyers, separation, documents, logistics. But emotionally, I don't even know how to breathe through this. I'm staring at the ruins of a life I thought was solid, trying to figure out how to walk through them without burning my feet.